Welcome back. If you have been following this Excel series, I just want to say congratulations. You have come a long way. In Excel session 1, we removed the fear. In session 2, we started calculating. In session 3, we built smarter tables. In session 4, we taught Excel its first decision. But today, we go deeper. Imagine this. You are a teacher and results are in 95, 78, 64, 48, 25. Now, should they all get the same result? No. Some get A, some B, some C, some D, and others E. Now imagine, not 5 students, but 500. Would you do it one by one? No chance. Or picture this. You are running a shop. Some items are out, some are low, some are okay, and some are full. Different situations, different answers. And this is where many people get stuck. They can handle yes or no, pass or fail, profit or loss. But when choices increase, they freeze. Today, we fix that. This is not just another formula. This is a shift in how you think. Simple if, 2 answers. Nested if, many answers. Just think clearly and Excel becomes powerful. My name is Athanas from Tanzania in East Africa, and this is Athanas Inspires. Let's get started. Alright, if you have reached this session, I want to say congratulations once again. You are no longer just learning where to click. You are learning how to think with data. Step by step, you are now thinking like someone who builds Excel solutions. Keep going. You are doing well. Now let me open a prepared document down here. This one. Now today we will use examination results as our example. Not because nested if is only for schools, but because examination results are easy for everyone to understand. The same thinking can be used in business, stock management, employee performance, customer classification, payment systems, and many other real-life situations. So don't focus only on the marks. Focus on the thinking behind the marks. Now let's begin with something familiar. Before we start typing, let's quickly understand this worksheet. Across the top we have student name, average, and result columns. The student name column identifies each student. The average column is where we will type the marks. And the result column is where Excel will make a simple decision. Now see, the result column is empty. The formulas are already there, but Excel is waiting for the average. Now let's enter them together. I'll click the first cell just below the average, and here I will type 45. I press enter, then 90, followed by 67, then 12, then 37, 81, and then 50. You see? Now every result appeared automatically. The if thinking is the same as in session 4, although this example uses a different pass rule. But here, Excel asks only one question. Is the average greater than or equal to 41? You can see the logic up here. 41 and above, Excel should return pass. But below 41, Excel should return fail. So the question is the average greater or equal to 41? Now if the answer is yes, Excel returns pass. But if the answer is no, Excel returns fail. You see? One question, two possible answers. One question, two possible answers. That is a simple if statement. By the way, if these lessons are helping you understand Excel more clearly, please take a second to like this video. It really helps more people discover this series. And if you are new here, subscribe to Athanas Inspires so you don't miss the next lessons as we continue moving from confusion to clarity. Now, congratulations! You have just used a complete decision system built with a simple if statement. But every decision system has its limits. Every solution solves a problem. Now let's move to another worksheet already prepared. This one right here. Take a careful look. The students are the same, and we are going to fill the same averages. We are going to fill the same averages, and the result column is still here. And now, we also have a grade column. You see this column? Instead of only pass and fail, we now want Excel to return these grades up here. Grade A, Grade B, C, D, or E. You see this grading system up here? Now here's my question. Can this solution solve the next problem? Do you think our simple if formula from session 4 can solve this new challenge? Now don't answer yet. Let's find out together. Now let's enter exactly the same averages. Here I will type 45, then 90, 67, 12, 37, 81, and finally 50. Now look careful here, but understand this careful. This grade column is helping us preview the problem. In the next practice sheet, we will write the grade formula ourselves. Now the result column is correct because it only needs 2 answers. The result column is correct because it only needs 2 answers: pass or fail. But the grade column looks a bit different. The grade column looks a bit different. Why? Because 2 answers are no longer enough here. We now need 5 different answers. The grades A, B, C, D, and E. We now need 5 different answers. The grades A, B, C, D, and E. Now the formula written here is not wrong. The problem has changed. And whenever the problem changes, our thinking must change. Never blame Excel for giving the wrong answer when we asked it a wrong question. Now, before we write a new formula, I want us to think exactly like Excel. Let's take one example. A student average is 45. You see? If you were Excel, what would you check first? Would you immediately say grade C? No. Excel doesn't guess. Excel checks. Is 45 greater than or equal to 81? No. Excel continues. Is it greater or equal to 61? No. Then Excel continues. Is it greater or equal to 41? Yes. The moment Excel finds the correct answer, it stops checking. Then it returns grade C. You see? Now let's consider a higher mark, 90. Is it greater than or equal to 81? Yes. Then Excel immediately returns grade A. You see? It doesn't check grade B, C, D, or grade E. And this is because it already found the correct answer. You see? For a low mark like 12, Excel keeps checking until no condition matches and it returns the final grade, which is E. Are you following me here? Now notice something very important. Excel is not checking every grade. It checks one condition at a time until it finds the first correct answer. Remember that. It checks one condition at a time until it finds the first correct answer. Remember that. It's one of the most important ideas you will learn in this session. Now everything we just did can now be translated into a single Excel formula. And before we write it, Let me quickly show you the journey ahead. Good. Now we understand the problem. Simple if can give us two answers, but real life situations often need more than two. Now let's look at today's journey. This is our journey for this session. We are moving from two simple answers to many smart decisions. And stay with me, because by the end of this lesson, you will not only understand nested if, you will also use it to build working Excel systems. First, we have already discovered why simple if is no longer enough for the problem in front of us. And we have already started to understand how Excel checks conditions step by step until it finds the correct answer. Next, we will write and copy our first nested if formula together. Don't worry about the length of the formula. We will build it slowly, one clear decision at a time. Then we will practice the same thinking in two real-life situations: a stock level system and a payment status system. This will help you see that nested if is not only for school results. Next, we will build a complete small student grading system from scratch. We will bring together formulas, grading, ranking, and remarks inside one connected worksheet. And we will test the system. We will change the information and watch Excel respond automatically. And that's where you'll begin to see the real power of connected data. Finally, you will complete an assignment challenge so that your own hands can practice what your mind has understood. Because watching builds awareness, but practicing builds confidence. So keep watching. What begins as one long formula will soon become a clear decision pattern you can use in school, at work, in business, and in real-life problem solving. Remember, simple if gives two answers, but nested if gives many answers. Now, let's return to Microsoft Excel and begin. Alright, we are back in Excel. Now let's turn that checking process into a real formula. And we have already seen the problem, that simple if gives only two answers. But the grade column needs many possible answers. So now we are going to write the grade column ourselves. But before we type, make sure you are on this formula practice sheet. So if you are practicing with me, make sure you have your own table. or you can download the ready-made template from the link in the pinned comment, or you can download it from my website athanasinspires.com. Now we are on the formula practice sheet. You see? And before we write the formula, let me say this clearly. Do not fear the long formula. I know it may look long at first. It may look like something only advanced people can understand. But listen, you are capable of understanding this. You have already done the thinking part. Now we are just writing it in Excel language. Now look careful at this Excel worksheet. We still have the student names. We still have the average column. And we still have the result column. The result column reminds us of the simple if, that it gives only two answers, pass or fail. But today, our main focus is the grade column. This column here. The grade column is empty because we want Excel to decide the grade for each student automatically. Now look at the small table on the right. These are our grading rules. If the average is from 81 to 100, the grade should be A. If the average is 61 to 80, the grade should be B. If the average is 41 to 60, grade should be C. If the average is from 21 to 40, the grade should be D. And if the average is from 0 to 20, the grade should be E. So the formula we are about to write is not magic. It is simply these rules written in Excel language. And this is why we call it nested if. Nested if simply means one if function inside another if function. Nested if means one if function inside another if function. So instead of Excel making only one decision, it checks another if, then another if, until it finds the correct answer. Now let's click in the first empty cell under grade column. This one. In this cell, we are going to write the formula for the first student. The first student's average is in cell D7. So Excel must check the value in D7. Are you following me? Now we begin. In this cell F7, I will type equals if open brackets D7 is greater or equal to 81. Now this is our logical test. Then I type comma. The formula wants value if true. Here I will open quotation marks A, then quotation marks. Now let's understand this first part. Now here we are telling Excel, if the average in D7 is greater than or equal to 81, then give grade A. You see, if the average in cell D7 is greater than or equal to 81, give grade A. That is the first check. Now here Excel checks for the highest grade first. But what if the student does not have 81 or above? What if the student does not have 81 or above? Then here Excel must not stop. It must continue checking. So we add another if inside the first if. This is nested if in action. So here I will proceed by typing comma, if again, open brackets, D7 greater than or equal to 61, comma, quotation marks, grade B, then quotation marks. Now Excel here is saying, if it is not grade A, check if the average is greater than or equal to 61. If yes, give grade B. You see? Is that now making sense? And again, if it is not B, Excel must continue. So here I will type comma again, another if, open brackets, D7 greater than or equal to 41, comma, quotation marks, grade C, quotation marks. Now this part means if the student did not qualify for A and did not qualify for B, now check if the average is greater than or equal to 41. And if yes, give grade C. Now let's proceed. I type comma, then another if, open brackets, D7 greater than or equal to 21, comma, quotation marks, grade D, quotation marks. You see? And this part means if it is not A, not B, and not C, then check if the average is greater than or equal to 21, and if that is okay, give grade D. You see? Now up to this point, what remains? If the average is not 81 and above, not 61 and above, not 41 and above, not 21 and above, then it must be below 21. So here Excel should return grade E. So here I will type comma, quotation marks, grade E, quotation marks. Are you following me? So here we will finish our formula by typing 4 closing brackets. You see? Now let me explain these 4 brackets briefly. We open the 4 if functions. Here is the first one, the second one, the third one, and the fourth one. We open the 4 if functions. So Excel needs these 4 closing brackets at the end. You understand that? And don't panic when you see them. Each bracket here is simply closing one if function. So now our formula is this one. You see? Now take a moment and look at it again. You are not just typing, you are understanding. Now let's press enter. Good. Excel has given us the grade for the first student. You see? Now please notice something important. We have written only one formula. But we don't want to write the same formula again and again for every student. So what can we do? We use the fill handle to drag the formula down. And I hope you remember this from the previous sessions. Now let's drag our formula down. Excellent. Now the grades appear for all students. You see? And before we continue, let us test one important grading boundary. Let's change this 45 to 81. Let me type it and press enter. Now look at the grade. Excel returns grade A. You see? If we take it back to 45 and press enter, now the grade becomes C again. You see? Let's change 45 to 80 and press enter, and the grade becomes B. You see? 80 is not 81 and above. So Excel moves to the next condition. This is why the signs and the checking order matter. Now let's again restore the original average 45. And the formula responded correctly each time. So this is the power of Excel. One formula, one column, then you drag it down. You write once, you drag it down, and you let Excel repeat. Now take your time here. Pause the video for a moment and try copying the formula down slowly using the fill handle. Don't worry if it does not work the first time. Mistakes are the part of learning Excel. Alright, the goal here is not speed. The goal is understanding. Now let me ask you the first question in this session. This is question number 1. What does nested if mean? Question number 1. What does nested if mean? Now please write your answer in the comment section in this format. Question number 1 followed by your answer. Alright, so today you have not just watched a lesson, you have built something. Be proud of that. And if you are learning something valuable here, subscribe to Athanas Inspires channel. Keep practicing, keep improving, and keep believing in yourself. And now that we understand the first nested if formula, let's now move to a prepared main project workbook where we will apply this knowledge in real life examples. Now, congratulations! You have now written your first nested if formula. You have seen that nested if is not magic. It is a clear thinking written in Excel language. Now we are not going to stop with grades only. We are going to use the same thinking in other real-life examples. Now let me open this workbook. Now look at this. We started with simple if. Then we moved to nested if. And then we practiced our first nested if formula. Now we are going to move into mean projects. In this workbook, I have prepared two important practice sheets. The first one is stock level system. Now these tables are already prepared for a reason. We are not skipping learning. We are protecting the focus of today's lesson. In the previous sessions, we already learned how to type data, build tables, use formulas, copy formulas, and organize information clearly. So today, we are not spending too much time rebuilding every table from zero. Today, our focus is decision making. Now remember this line. We already learned how to build tables. Now we are learning how to make those tables think. Now if you want to practice with the same workbook, the one you are seeing on the screen, you can download it from the pinned comment or from my website athanasinspires.com. Now look careful at the sheet names at the bottom. This one here. We have stock level system, this one, and payment status system, this one. Each sheet has a small rules table on the right. The payment status system has rules table on the right, these ones, and the stock level system has rules table on the right also. You see? This rules table is our guide. You see? It helps us understand what Excel should check before we write the formula. And notice, the status columns are still empty. You see these columns? Now that is intentional. Excel is waiting for us to write the formulas. So we are going to think first, write the formula, press enter, then copy the formula down using the fill handle. Same idea, different situations. Now let's begin with the first mean project. Let us see how nested if can help us manage stock levels. Now in the previous example, Excel was deciding grades. Now Excel will decide stock status. Different table, same thinking. Now I want you to stay with me here, because this is where Excel starts becoming very useful in real life. You are not only learning a formula, you are learning how to build a small system. A system that can look at information, check the rules, and respond for you automatically. That is powerful. So let's do this together slowly. Now we are on the stock level system. Now look at this table carefully. We have serial number column. This simply helps us number the items. Then we have item name column. This column helps us what item we are checking. For example, we have exercise books, pens, pencils, and so on. Then we have the quantity column. Now this is very important. The quantity column tells us how many items are available. And finally, we have the stock status column. Now this is where Excel will make the decision. So do not be confused by the whole table. Our main focus is simple. Excel will look at the quantity, then decide the stock status in this column. Now before we write any formula, we must understand the rules, because Excel cannot decide well if we don't give it clear rules. Now look at the small rules table on the right here. If the quantity is 0, the stock status should be out of stock. And if the quantity is less than 50, the stock status should be low stock. If the quantity is less than 100, the stock status should be okay stock. And if the quantity is 100 or above, the stock status should be full stock. So again, Excel is not guessing. Excel is going to check the rules one by one. Now notice something important. In this stock system, the most serious condition is 0. If the quantity is 0, that means we don't have the item at all. So Excel should not continue asking many questions. It should immediately say out of stock. So in this stock problem, checking 0 first gives us the clearest checking order. The order should always follow the logic of the problem. Now let's write the formula. In this worksheet, the first quantity is in cell D8. You see? So our formula will check D8. Now let me click on the first cell under the stock status column. And here we begin slowly. Just follow step by step. Now in cell D8 I will type equals sign if open brackets D8 equals to 0, comma, quotation marks, out of stock, quotation marks. Now let's understand this first part first. Here we are telling Excel if the quantity in cell D8 is 0, show out of stock. If the quantity in cell D8 is 0, return out of stock. Now that is the first check. If there is nothing available, Excel should immediately tell us out of stock. But what if the quantity is not 0? Then Excel must continue checking. So we add another if inside the first if. So here I continue by typing comma, if, open brackets, D8 is less than 50, comma, quotation marks, low stock, quotation marks. Now here Excel is saying if the quantity is not 0, check if it's less than 50. And if it is less than 50, show low stock. Please stay with me here. That means the item is still available, but the quantity is small. Now, if it is not less than 50, Excel must continue again. So here I type comma again, if, open brackets, D8 is less than 100, comma, quotation marks, okay stock, quotation marks. Now this part means if the quantity is not 0 and it is not less than 50, now check if it is less than 100 and return okay stock. You see? Now what remains? If the quantity is not 0, not less than 50, not less than 100, then it must be 100 or above, and here Excel should show full stock. So here I will type comma again, quotation marks, full stock. You see? Now because we opened the 3 if statements in our formula, I will close with 3 brackets like that, and our formula is complete. Now let's look at the formula again before pressing enter. Excel checks if the quantity is 0. If yes, out of stock. If not, Excel checks if the quantity is less than 50. If yes, low stock. If not, Excel checks if the quantity is less than 100. If yes, okay stock. And if none of those conditions are true, Excel gives full stock. It's very simple, right? Now let's press enter. Good. Excel has given the stock status for the first item. You see? Now remember, we don't want to write this formula again and again. What we are going to do is to drag the formula down. Now let me drag it down. Excellent. Now look at that. Excel has decided the stock status for all items. You see? Now this is why I want you to keep watching and keep practicing. Because every time you understand one idea clearly, you become more independent. You stop fearing Excel and you start using Excel. Now let's test this system. A good system should respond when the data changes. So I will change a few quantities and I want you to watch the stock status column clearly. For example, let's change this 50 into 0. Now watch this cell as I press enter. You see? The status immediately changes to out of stock because of 0 in this cell D11. You see? Let's change this 25 to something like 134. Now watch this cell as I press enter. You see? Above 100, okay, stock. So this small system here is automatic. Now you can see clearly. This is not just a formula sitting in a cell. This is a small decision system. When the quantity changes, the stock status changes automatically. And that is the power of connected thinking in Excel. Now let me ask you the second question. If the quantity is 0, what should Excel show? If the quantity is 0, what should Excel show in the stock status column? Now write your answer in the comment section like this. Question number 2, then your answer. Now take a moment and appreciate what you have done. You have successfully used nested if in a new situation. First, we used it for grades. Now we have used it for stock levels. That means you are not just memorizing one formula. You are learning a pattern. And once you understand the pattern, you can use it in many real-life situations. Now Excel has decided stock status. Next, we will use the same thinking for payment status. Now let's move to the payment status system. All right. In the stock level system, Excel checked the quantity and returned the correct stock status. Now we are going to use the same nested if thinking in payment situation. So this time, Excel will not check quantity. Excel will check payments. Different table, same thinking. And I want you to stay with me here because the more examples you see, the more nested if becomes clear. Sometimes one example is not enough. But when you see the same idea working in grades, then in stock, then in payment, your confidence begins to grow. And you start realizing, I can use this in many places. And that's why we are practicing this slowly. Not to rush, but to understand. Now we are on the payment status sheet. You see? Let's now understand the table first. The name column tells us who we are checking. The amount required column tells us how much should be paid. The paid amount column tells us how much has already been paid. And the payment status column is where Excel will make the decision. So the thinking is simple. Excel will look at the paid amount compared with the amount required and then return the correct payment status. Paid amount comes from here. Amount required comes from here. And the answer will appear in this column. Now, before we write the formula, let's also understand the rules. Now, if the paid amount is 0, the payment status should be not paid. And when the paid amount is less than the amount required, the payment status should be partly paid. When the payment amount is greater or equal to amount required, the payment status should be fully paid. So again, Excel is not guessing. We are giving Excel clear rules. So our formula will check D8 and compare it with C8. You see? Now let's begin writing the formula slowly. In cell E8, I'll type equals to if, open brackets, D8 equals to 0, comma, quotation marks, not paid, quotation marks. Now let's understand this part first. We are telling Excel if the paid amount is 0, show not paid. If someone has paid nothing, the status is not paid. But what if the paid amount is not 0? Then Excel must continue checking. So here we add another if inside the first if. So I'll continue typing comma, if, open brackets, D8 is less than C8, comma, quotation marks, partly paid, then quotation marks. Now here Excel is saying, if the paid amount in cell D8 is less than the amount required in cell C8, show partly paid. You see? This means the person has paid something, but not the full amount. Now here what remains. If the paid amount is not zero, and it is not less than the amount required, then the person has paid the full amount or more than the full amount. So Excel should show fully paid. So let's complete the formula by typing comma, quotation marks, fully paid, quotation marks, then close the two brackets we opened, and here the formula is complete. You see? Now look at the formula carefully. First, Excel checks if the paid amount is zero. If yes, not paid. If not, Excel checks if the paid amount is less than the amount required, and if yes, partly paid. And if none of these conditions are true, Excel returns fully paid. That's very simple logic. That's the very simple logic. Now let's press enter. Good. Excel has given the payment status for the first person. Now let's drag the formula down and see what happens. Excellent. Now the payment status column fills automatically. You see, one formula, one column, drag down. Don't forget that. Write once, drag down, let Excel repeat. Now, if this lesson is helping you understand Excel more clearly, please like this video. That simple like helps this video reach more learners. People who may also be afraid of Excel, but need someone to explain it calmly. Now, thank you for supporting the learning. Let's now test this payment system. Always remember, a good system should respond when the data changes. So here I will change some paid amount values, and I want you to watch the payment status column carefully. First, let's test zero. Let's, for example, change 75,000 to 0, and we press enter. Now watch this. Let's press enter. You see, the changes appear automatically when data changes. When the paid amount is 0, the payment status should be not paid. Let's again change this 0 to something like 100,000 and press enter. Now watch this. You see, the payment status changes again to fully paid. Are you following me here? When the paid amount changes, the payment status changes automatically. You see? If you change this to 40,000 again, for example, and press enter, the payment status updates automatically. That is the power of connected worksheet. And this is why I want you to keep watching. you are not just learning Excel commands. You are learning how to think clearly with data. When you understand this, you can create systems for school fees, business payments, group distributions, training payments, customer balances, and many real-life situations. Excel becomes more useful when your thinking becomes clearer. Now let me ask you the third question. If someone has paid some money, but not the full amount, what should the status be? If someone has paid some money but not the full amount, what should the status be? Will the status be not paid, partly paid, or fully paid? Now write your answer in the comment section like this. Question number 3, then your answer. Very good. Now look at what you have done today. You first saw nested if working in grades. Then you used it in stock level system. Now you have used it in payment status system. Now that means you are no longer seeing nested if as just one long formula. You are beginning to see it as a decision pattern. And once you understand the pattern, you can use it in many different tables. This is how Excel starts becoming useful in real life. Next, we are ready to move into a bigger system. We are bringing together formulas, copying, grading, ranking, and remarks to build a complete student grading system. So stay with me. You are building real Excel confidence step by step. Alright, good. You have now used nested if with grades, stock, and payment. So now, you are ready for the final project. This is the final project for this session. And don't worry, we will build it together one step at a time. We are going to build a small student grading system. This is not only about marks. It's about bringing calculations, decisions, and connected information together in one Excel system. And yes, you are ready. You have already learned the pieces. Now we are going to connect them. Some columns will contain information we type. Other columns will contain answers Excel calculates. Remember, some columns are typed and some columns are calculated. First, total. Excel will add the subject marks together. Then average. Excel will calculate the student's average. From the average, Excel will decide the grade. And this is where nested if becomes part of a bigger system. Excel will also calculate the position. And finally, remark. the remark will depend on the grade. That means one decision will help create another decision. What you learned separately is about to work together. Total will connect to average. Average will connect to grade. And grade will connect to remark. And that is what makes this more than an ordinary table. It becomes a working system. So stay with me. We will prepare the table first, then add each working part step by step. Now let's return to Microsoft Excel and begin building the table clearly. Alright, here we go. We have now seen what our final project will produce. Total, average, grade, position, and remark. Now let's return to Microsoft Excel and begin building the table that will hold this system. Remember, we are not going to build everything at once. First, we prepare the structure, then we make the structure work. Now, at the bottom of this workbook, click the plus sign to add a new worksheet. This plus sign here. Let me click. A new sheet is added, and I double click it and type small student grading system. Yeah, like that. Small student grading system. And then I press enter. Now a new sheet is successfully added. Now remember, we began with simple if, then nested if, then formula practice, stock status, payment status, and now our final project. We are building our final project from scratch. Now let me click on this small triangle up here to select all cells in the entire sheet and increase font size to 16. Yeah, like that. Now let's type the project title. I click cell B2 and here I type small student grading system. After typing, I press enter. For now, we will leave the title in this one cell. Alright? We will merge and format it after entering all the information. Now let's type the column headings. We will type the headings of our system beginning from cell B3. This cell here. Now in cell B3, I will type serial number, then press tab key on my keyboard, and then type name, tab key again, subject 1, tab key again, subject 2, then subject 3, tab key again, and then I type total, next average, next grade, then position, and finally remark. And then I press enter. Now let's understand these columns before entering the student's data. The name column will contain students' names. Subject 1, Subject 2, and Subject 3 will contain their marks. These are the columns where we will type information ourselves. But notice other columns: serial number, total column, average column, grade column, position and remark columns. We will not type their answers manually. Excel will calculate or decide those answers for us later. Remember, some columns are typed, some columns are calculated. For now, we will leave all the calculated columns empty. Now let's enter the first student. I click on cell C4, and here I will type Emma Johnson, and I press enter. The first student name is successfully added in cell C4. Now let me adjust this column because it needs a little more space. Yes, like that. Let's now enter the marks for the first student. I click on cell D4 and I type 96. I press tab key 94 and finally 92. You see, we have entered the student name and the information Excel will later use for its calculations. Here I will now enter the remaining student names and marks. Now here I will type them quickly because the process is the same for every student. You can pause the video whenever you need more time and continue typing at your own pace. The goal is not to type quickly. The goal is to prepare the information correctly. Now let me type them quickly. All right, I'm done. Let me scroll up. We now have 20 student names and 3 subject marks for every student. But look at the worksheet right now. The information is there, but the table is not yet clear and organized. And this is where formatting becomes useful. Remember, formatting is not merely decoration. Formatting helps us read, understand, and work with information more clearly. Now let's adjust the columns a little bit. The average column, the position column needs adjustment also. And the remark column, it needs enough space for the remarks. All right. The student name column, and the serial number column. Yeah, like that. Now let's format the project title. I select all cells from B2 to K2. And then I go to Merge and Center and I click make the title bold, increase font size a little bit. Yes, like that. Let me also select all headings, make them bold, and center them. Yeah, like that. Now let me select the main title heading and the other headings, all of them like this. And let's apply dark blue fill color. Let me click on this small arrow besides the fill color feature and select the dark blue color, this one. After that, let's change the font color to white. And the contrast is now good. Now let's apply borders to our data. I select all cells from B3 to K23, and then I apply thin borders to all of them. All right, like that. Let me also click on View tab and uncheck this tick in grid lines. Let me uncheck it. Yeah, like that. Let me also select all cells from cell D4 to K23 and center everything in Home tab. Let me center everything. You see? Let me also center the serial number column values that will be entered later. Yeah, like that. Let me also apply borders to our headings. We forgot to do that. Yes. And finally, make sure your calculated columns are still empty. Let me also select these cells in the calculated columns and give them a light blue color, and the same to serial number column. I give them the same light blue color. You see? Now here, take a moment. Pause the video and prepare your table carefully. You have to check that your title is above the whole document. Your headings are clearly visible. The student names and marks are also entered, and your calculated columns are still empty. Do not rush. A clear structure makes the next steps easier. Now look at our worksheet. The student names and marks are ready. The formatting is ready. The serial number is empty. The total, average, grade, position, and remark columns are also empty. And that is not a problem. Excel is simply waiting for instructions. In the next section, we will begin adding those instructions. We will start with familiar formulas and then bring nested if into the complete system. The table is ready. Now let's make this work. Here we go. Our table is now clear, organized, and ready. Now we are going to bring this system to life. And as we continue, remember something important. You are not starting again. You have already learned the formulas, functions, ranges, the field handle, nested if, and ranking. Now we are bringing those skills together. And this is how confidence grows. Not by learning everything at once, but by connecting one clear idea to another. Alright, now before we begin writing the formulas, let's first arrange the student names alphabetically. To do it, I select everything from cell B3 to cell K23, and then I go to Data, I click on Sort, I make sure my data has headers is checked, and beside Sort By I select Name, and the order is A to Z, and then I click on OK, and my student names are alphabetically arranged. You see? Now we are ready to begin the formulas. Let's start with the serial number column. Now I click on cell B4. Now remember, we have used this formula before, so this will be a short refresher. Now here I will type equals to row, open brackets, close brackets, -3. After that I press enter, and Excel returns 1, and 1 is what we want in this cell. Now why 1? Because the first student is on row number 4, and 4 minus 3 is 1. Let's now copy the formula down for the rest of the cells. Alright, great. Our serial number values is ready. Here let me select all the serial number values and make sure they are bold. Alright, great. Now let's calculate the total for each student. Now I click on cell G4. Now the first student's 3 marks are in cells D4, E4, and F4. So Excel must add the range from D4 to F4. So in cell G4, I will type equals to sum, open brackets, D4 through F4, then close brackets. Our formula is ready, and now I press enter. After that, we copy the formula down, and all student totals now appear. You see, one correct formula has completed an entire column. And here, don't underestimate that. Whenever you learn how to give Excel one correct instruction, you reduce the repeated work, save time, and reduce mistakes. That is how technology begins working for you. Now let's calculate the average. I click on cell H4, and again Excel will use the same 3 subject marks. Are you with me here? Now I click on cell H4 and type equals to average, open brackets, D4 through F4, then close brackets. Our formula is ready, and here I press enter. Now this is the average for the first student. After that, let's copy the formula down like that, and all averages appear automatically. You see, one formula, one column, then you drag down. Now we come to the main decision column, grade. Now this is where our nested if knowledge becomes part of a bigger system. Now look careful. The grade formula will not check subject 1, subject 2, and subject 3 directly. The grade formula will check the average in H4. Are you following me here? So one calculated column is now giving information to another column. This is connected thinking. So I click on cell I4, and let's start typing our formula slowly. Equals to if, open brackets, then H4 is greater or equal to 81. Remember our rules, comma, quotation marks, A, then quotation marks. You remember this part? Then I proceed by typing comma, another if, open brackets, H4 is greater or equal to 61, comma, quotation marks, grade B, quotation marks, comma again, another if, open brackets, H4 is greater than or equal to 41, quotation marks, grade C, quotation marks, comma, another if, open brackets, H4 is greater than or equal to 21, comma, quotation marks, grade D, quotation marks, and then comma again, then quotation marks, grade E, quotation marks, and then I close with 4 brackets we opened, and our formula is ready. Now let's read the logic briefly. If the average is 81 or above, give grade A. If not, check whether it is 61 and above. If yes, give grade B. If not, check whether it is 41 or above. If yes, give grade C. If not, check whether it's 21 or above. If yes, give grade D. And if none of those conditions is true, give grade E. You see? Now let's press enter. Great. The first student's average is B because her average is 79. You see? Now let's drag the formula down for the other students. Wow, great! Excel has checked every student's average and returned the correct grade automatically. You see? Here you are no longer looking at nested if as one frightening formula. You are using it as a practical decision tool. And that is a big step forward. Now let's calculate the position. Now I click on cell J4. Now the position formula will use the student's total mark in cell G4. Then Excel will compare the total with all other student totals. Are you still with me here? Now in cell J4, I'll type equals to rank. Hope you remember this. Open brackets. Then I click on cell G4. Now this is our number, then comma, then I'll enter the reference by selecting the entire total range like that. Let me scroll up, and here I will insert the dollar signs in this range to lock it. I hope you remember that. So I make sure my cursor is before G, and here I insert the dollar sign, move my cursor, another dollar sign, another one here, and another one here, and the dollar signs are all okay. Now here I press comma and then 0, close brackets, and the formula is ready. So this range G4 through G23 contains all 20 student totals. You see this range is selected. Now here I press enter, and Excel returns 5, meaning this is the rank for the first student. So here let's drag the formula down, and Excel returns the rank for each student automatically. You see? Now take a careful look at the worksheet right now. The serial number column is now working. The total column is working. The average column is also working. The grade column is making decisions. And the position column is comparing performance. These columns are not working alone. The subject marks produce the total. The subject marks also produce the average. The average produces the grade. The total helps Excel calculate the position. One part gives information to another part. Now this is how worksheets becomes a system. And I want you to hear this clearly. You may still feel like a beginner, but look at what you are building. You are organizing information. You are writing formulas. You are creating decisions. You are comparing results. These are useful skills. Skills that can help you in school, in an office, in business, in personal planning, and in many responsibilities you may carry in the future. Never despise the small steps you are taking now. Keep learning. Keep practicing. Keep moving forward. Now pause the video here and try writing and copying these formulas in your own worksheet. Now take your time. When you are ready, continue with me. All right, welcome back. Now let me hear from you. How is Excel lesson helping you so far? How is this Excel lesson helping you so far? You may tell me what has become clear, what you can now do, or how your confidence with Excel is changing. Now write your answer in the comment section like this. Question number 4, then your answer. Your response matters. It helps me understand your learning journey, and it may also encourage another beginners who thinks they cannot understand Excel. And here is another important question. Where are you going to use Excel in real life? Will you use it at school, at work, in business, for managing records, planning money, tracking stock, organizing payments, or solving another real-life problem? Now please write your answer in the comments like this. Question number 5, then your answer. And if you have not subscribed to Athanas Inspires yet, please subscribe now. We are going to continue building your digital confidence, one practical skill at a time. Excel still has much more to show us, so stay connected. Your journey is not ending here, and the skills you are building today can open doors tomorrow. Now one column from our worksheet is still waiting, the remark column. In the next section, we will use the grade to help Excel return the correct remark automatically. One decision will lead to another decision. Now let's continue. Now here we go. Our system can now calculate total, average, grade, and position. But one column is still waiting. The remark column. Now this is the final part of our student grading system. And this part will help us understand something very important about Excel. One answer can become the information Excel uses to make another decision. The subject marks produced the average. The average produced the grade. And now, the grade will produce the remark. This is a connected system. One decision leads to another. Now, before we write the formula, let's understand what we want Excel to do. If the grade is A, the remark should be outstanding. And if the grade is B, the remark should be very good. When the grade is C, the remark should be average. When the grade is D, the remark should be weak. And when the grade is E, the remark should be very weak. Now notice carefully. Excel is not going back to check the 3 subject marks. It's not checking the total. It's not even checking the average. The remark formula will check the grade in cell I4. Here one part gives a useful information to another part. Now let me select cell K4, the first empty cell under remark. Now we will write another nested if formula in this cell. But don't be afraid of it. You have already written nested if several times in this lesson. So you are no longer meeting this formula as a stranger. You understand the thinking behind it. Now let's type it slowly. In this cell K4, I will type equals to if, open brackets, I4 equals to quotation marks, grade A, quotation marks, comma, quotation marks, outstanding, then quotation marks. Now this part tells Excel if the grade in I4 is A, show outstanding. But what if the grade is not A? Excel must continue checking. So here I will proceed by typing comma, another if, open brackets, I4 equals quotation marks, grade B, quotation marks, comma, quotation marks, very good, then quotation marks. Now here Excel is saying, if the grade is not A, check whether it's B. And if it is B, show very good. Are you with me here? If it's not B, Excel continues again. So here I'll type comma, another if, open brackets, I4 equals quotation marks, grade C, quotation marks, comma, quotation marks, average, then quotation marks. If the average in cell I4 is C, show average. Now let's proceed. Here I'll type comma again, another if, open brackets, I4 equals quotation marks, grade D, quotation marks, comma, quotation marks, week, then quotation marks. If the grade is D, show week. Now here, if the grade is not A, not B, not C, and not D, then the remaining grade is E. So Excel should show very weak. So here I will complete the formula by typing comma, quotation marks, very weak, then quotation marks. Now in our formula we typed the 4 if statements, so I will finish my formula by typing 4 closing brackets. And our formula is now complete. Now take a moment and look at it calmly. The formula may be long, but the thinking is simple. Excel checks the grade one condition at a time until it finds the correct remark. Now let's press enter. Good. Excel shows very good. Grade B has produced the remark very good. And that's correct. And notice, we didn't type the words very good manually. Excel looked at the grade, checked the rules, and returned the answer automatically. Now let's drag the formula down like this. Whoa, excellent! Now every student has a remark. One formula, one column, then drag down. Write once, drag down, let Excel repeat. Now if this lesson is helping Excel become clearer for you, please like this video. Also share it with someone who wants to learn Excel but may still feel confused, afraid, or unsure of where to begin. Your share may help another person discover that Excel is not impossible. Sometimes one shared lesson can help someone begin a complete new journey. Now, thank you for helping this learning reach more people. Now, our student grading system looks complete. But how do we know that it is truly working? We test it. Testing does not mean we believe the system is wrong. Testing helps us confirm that the system is responding correctly. Now let's use Amina Hassan as our example. Her current subject marks are 82, 78, and 77. Her average is 79. Her grade is B. Her position is 5. and her remark is very good. Now let's temporarily change her 3 subject marks. I will change the first mark to 95, the second one to 95, and the third one to 95. Now, did you see that? The total changed to 285, the average changed to 95, the grade changed from B to A, and position changed from 5 to 1. And the remark changed from very good to outstanding. We changed only the original information, but the entire connected system responded. The formulas did not need to be rewritten. The grade did not need to be typed manually. The position did not need to be calculated manually. And the remark did not need to be changed manually. Excel followed the connections we created. The marks changed, so the total changed. The average changed, so the grade changed. The total changed, so the position changed. The grade changed, so the remark changed. Now, this is not just a group of formulas sitting in separate cells. This is a working system. And this is why understanding is more powerful than memorizing. When you understand how parts connect, you can build systems for many different situations. And now that we have proved the system works, let's restore Amina's original information. Subject 1 was 82, and then 78, and finally 77. The system responded when we changed the marks, and it responded again when we restored them. Now that is how we know the connections are working. Now let me ask you question number 6. If the grade is B, what should the remark be? If the grade is B, what should the remark be? Now write your answer in the comment section like this. Question number 6, then your answer. Now well done. Take a moment and look at what you have built. You did not only type names and marks. You did not only format a table. You built a system that can calculate, compare, decide, rank, and respond. Think about where you started. At the beginning of this Excel series, even cells, rows, columns, and simple formulas may have left unfamiliar. But today, you have connected several formulas inside one complete project. Now that is growth. That's what happens when you keep learning, even when something looks difficult at first. Don't measure your progress only by how fast you work. Measure it by what you can now understand, what you can now build, and what you are no longer afraid to try. You may still call yourself a beginner, but you are becoming a beginner who can solve problems, a beginner who can organize information, a beginner who can create useful systems. And every skill you understand today is preparing you for greater responsibilities tomorrow. This is no longer just a worksheet. It is a working Excel decision system, and you built it step by step. Excellent! You have now built and tested a complete Excel decision system. But remember, watching someone use Excel is not the same as using Excel yourself. Confidence grows when your own hands begin doing the work. So now, it is time for your assignment challenge. And don't be afraid of the word assignment. This is not designed to punish you or to prove that you are not good enough. It is designed to help you practice, make mistakes safely, correct them, and become more independent. The goal is not speed. The goal is understanding. Now let me open the assignment workbook. Here it is. You can request this Excel Session 5 assignment workbook on my WhatsApp. Just text me on WhatsApp using the phone number on your screen. You can also download it from my website, athanasinspires.com. Now this workbook has 3 sheets down here. It has overall score sheet, grade system sheet, and stock status system sheet. Now let's look at them briefly. This first sheet shows your overall progress. The grade system score will appear here. The stock status system score will appear here. And your total score will appear here. The same will appear here in percentage. You don't need to calculate the score manually. As you complete the assignment sheets, this page will update automatically. And this means you can see your progress while you practice. The first assignment is the grade system. Now at the top, you can see the live score. Now at the moment, the score is 0 out of 10. In this table, the student names and the averages are already provided. Your work is to write the nested if formula inside these yellow cells. And the grade rules are shown in this table. Now let me demonstrate how live score works. Let me quickly type the formula for the first grade here. Now my formula is ready. Let me press enter. Now did you see that? The check column shows correct and the live score changed from 0 to 1. You see? The workbook checks the result produced in the cell automatically. But remember, your task is to write the nested if formula. Don't type the grade manually just to increase the score. When we come to overall score page, we can see the changes also. The grade system score is now 1 and the total score is now 1. And the percentages have also increased. You see, when I drag the formula down a little bit, you can see the live score increases everywhere. You see? Now, if something wrong is filled in this cell, for example, let me type anything and press enter, you'll see these words, try again. Now when you see try again, don't panic. It simply means check your formula, find the mistake, correct it, and try again. Excel is giving you another opportunity to understand. Now let me clear everything in these yellow cells. The score returns to 0. Now I'm cleaning the answers because this assignment belongs to you. And the second assignment is the stock status system. This time, Excel will not decide grades. It will decide stock status. The quantities are already provided. Your task is to write the nested if formula inside the yellow stock status cells. These ones here. Now use the rules shown on the right. 0 should return out of stock. A quantity below 50 should return low stock. A quantity below 100 should return okay stock. And 100 or above should return full stock. Now write the formula in the first yellow cell and drag it down. Now your goal is to practice until the logic becomes clear. Try to reach 100%. But do not change the score without understanding the formula. A high score is good, but understanding why the formula works is even better. Now, before we finish, let's take a moment and look at what you have achieved today. You started this session knowing that Simple If could choose between two answers, pass or fail. profit or loss, enough stock or low stock. But real life does not always give us only two choices. Sometimes there are many possible responses. And today, you learned how Excel can handle those situations. Remember, simple if gives two answers. Nested if gives many answers. Nested if means one if function inside another if function. Excel checks one condition at a time. If the first condition is false, Excel moves to the next one, then the next one. And once Excel finds the first true condition, it gives the answer and stops checking. You used that thinking to create a grade system, a stock level system, a payment status system, and a complete student grading system. You calculated totals. You calculated averages. You used nested if to produce grades. You used rank to calculate positions. And you used the grade to produce the correct remark. Then you changed the marks and watched the entire system respond. That was not just a formula exercise. You were learning how information connects. Now, maybe when you started this Excel series, you were afraid of touching the wrong button. Maybe formulas looked confusing. Maybe you had watched the other tutorials, but still felt lost. But today, look at what you can now understand. You are not only clicking, you are thinking. You are not only copying formulas, you are beginning to understand why they work. You are not only filling cells, you are building systems. Now that is progress. And progress does not always make noise. Do not stop here. The skill you practice today may become the skill that helps you tomorrow at school, at work, in business, in leadership, or while solving a problem for someone else. Every useful person was once a beginner. The difference is that they kept on learning. Now your journey is not finished. In this session, Excel learned how to decide. In the next session, Excel will begin to count and summarize intelligently. Imagine asking Excel, how many students passed? How many items are low in stock? How many people have fully paid? Or how much money belongs to a particular group? Now, instead of counting everything manually, Excel will help us answer those questions automatically. That is where we begin moving deeper into analysis. And that is where your power with data grows even more. So make sure you complete the assignment. Don't only watch the lesson and move away. Request the workbook, Write the formulas, correct your mistakes, and see how far you can go. And if you have not subscribed to Athanas Inspires, subscribe now. We are moving step by step from confusion to clarity, from fear to confidence, and from simply using technology to using it with purpose. Thank you for learning with me. Keep practicing, keep growing, and keep moving forward. My name is Athanas from Tanzania, and this is Athanas Inspires. See you in the next session.